my house, eating a big ass sandwich and shit.
Nigga, I'm Santa Claus. What the fuck the milk and cookies?
50 Cent, you heard me. I don't believe you let that nigga talk, you fat cupcake eating motherfucker. I fuck you up, nigga. Fucking punk ass nigga. Don't nobody respect you, nigga. You cream son, nigga. Motherfuckers been getting extorted from day one. It's all kind of bitching, you Chinese.
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Void.
Keyshawn Nimes YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we back with another movie review, and we got another retro review, which is Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. This is one of Wes Craven's earlier movies. This was after Nightmare on Elm Street. This was probably not one of his best critically acclaimed movies or best box office performing movies, because to be honest, I don't even know how many people have heard of this. It's the same thing with movies like The Rainbow and the Serpent. I think that's a Wes Craven movie. Outside of movies like Scream and A Nightmare on Elm Street, you probably have not heard of too many of these other Wes Craven movies. Besides, I think a lot of people have heard movies like The Last House on the Left or The Hills Have Eyes, those type of movies, because in pertaining to those type of movies, those movies have remakes too. But pertaining to this movie, it's one of my favorites. It was one of my favorites as a child, and even at an older age that I'm at right now, I still enjoy it. Give or take that it's a lot of things that, like, but given that it was 1991, it was understandable. But at that time, this was one of the movies that, if you enjoy movies like Jordan Peele's horror, type of horror, social horror, this was social horror before social horror, like woke horror, if you want to call it, however y'all describe it or whatnot. But to me, this was before even Tales from the Hood's type of social horror. But I feel like Tales from the Hood had that type of social horror that wasn't in your face, like make sure, like, look, this is a message, this is a message. I feel like a movie like Get Out didn't have that either. I feel like, because you didn't even really know what the hell was going on until the end anyway. So I feel like Jordan Peele did that in a way that wasn't in your face either. I feel like, I don't know, Us though was kind of, I ain't gonna say that was in your face, but it was, I don't know. But anyway, one of the reasons, like I said, I wanted to talk about this movie was not only that it was one of my favorite horror movies, and I really would like them to do a remake on this, but it was that social message in there, as far as social horror, as far as the message that it had pertaining to what Jordan Peele has done, pertaining to what Tales from the Hood has done, especially with those stories. Oh my gosh, man, I hate those sequels, man. It's so much going on in the world. I don't see how Tales from the Hood dropped the ball on Tales from the Hood 2 and 3. Y'all just should have made it a TV show and gave it to somebody else. That's all I'm gonna say. That makes me mad every time. But anyway, rest in peace to the great Wes Craven. Like I said, this was one of his earlier movies after A Nightmare on Elm Street, and like I said, this was social horror before social horror. And in the sense of this being social horror, you had pretty much a movie about a young man named Fool, who was played by Brandon Adams. If you don't know Brandon Adams was all in the early 90s shows like Moesha, maybe Living Single. I think he was in Steve Harvey show. Like, he was in a bunch of those early 90s comedy shows or whatnot. But yeah, you have Brandon Adams playing a young man named Fool, and pretty much you have him in a situation where he's living in poverty, his family is living in poverty, and they're in low-income neighborhoods, and they're living in a low-income house. So he gets the idea from another guy played by Vig Rhames named Leroy, which is brilliantly played by Vig Rhames. I don't care what movie Vig Rhames in, I don't care what he's doing, this guy plays his roles every time. He's a legend. Vig Rhames is definitely a legend. But he plays a guy called Leroy, and basically he wants Fool to help him break into the house of these landlords, and the landlords are their landlords. They basically own, they basically own the house, and some way all the properties in this low-income neighborhood. And so basically they're trying to move all these people out so they can bring in new property. You see what I'm saying? The social commentary, like that social message, because you see a lot of this nowadays, and even before then, like they doing now. From then to now, you see a lot of these low-income neighborhoods that move a lot of people out and knock all these older houses down that people have been living in for years that should have been had work done on them, and they bring in new people, bring in basically gentrifying the neighborhoods. Look at places like Brooklyn and stuff like that, where you have seen the difference in the neighborhoods and the way they look and the way they've knocked down certain things and put new buildings in. Basically what they do with these low-income neighborhoods, where they knock all these older what's-names out, move all the people in that was already staying in the neighborhood, move other people in, and basically gentrify the neighborhood, bringing in all these newer homes or whatnot, even though some of these newer homes they bringing in ain't in the best conditions either. But that's what I was saying about this as far as the social message and as far as the social horror. That's what they got with this, because these landlords pretty much own all the properties in this neighborhood. They own the houses that these that fool and his family are staying in, and they're basically trying to stall them out to move them out. They keep taking the rent up higher and higher and higher, even though the housing they staying in is not in the best conditions or whatnot, but they keep taking the rent up more and more just so they can get these people to move out. And that's what you see nowadays, not only nowadays, but even the past coming into nowadays, how you do with these low-income neighborhoods. And that's really what the social message is in this horror movie. But the full breakdown as far as the plot-wise, you have a young man named Fool who breaks into the home of a family's greedy and uncaring landlords. He discovers a disturbing scenario where incestuous adult siblings have mutilated a number of boys and kept them in prison under stairs in a large, creepy house. As Fool attempts to flee before the psychopaths can catch him, he meets their daughter, Alice. He has been spared any extreme discipline by her deranged parents. Can Fool and Alice escape before it's too late? And that's basically what you have in this situation, because Leroy, who's played by Vig Rames, pretty much needs Fool to put on basically a disguise just to get inside the house, to pretty much scope it out to see ways of getting in, because this house has locks on the outside. It's pretty much a fortress house where you ain't getting the hell out if you do get in, if you get locked in, basically. So that's the situation you have with Fool, because like I said, they're trying to get into a scenario where they can either have the money to pay the rent or have enough money where they can move and get into another spot and get his family in a better situation. The landlords, and I never noticed that they did not have no names in this movie. It's basically man and woman. And like I said, this is a spoiler review. I mean, the movie came out in 1991. You have this two adult siblings, and I didn't even notice, as far as if I'm not mistaken, that's what they are. They are brother and sister in here, and they are incest, basically. I mean, they don't come out and say it, but there are hints that they are incest in here, because they are basically husband and wife as portrayed in the neighborhood, or as portrayed as landlords or whatnot. But when it's explained to Fool, they are, as it is explained, that they are brother and sister or whatnot, and they've basically been adopting, if I'm not mistaken, because they don't even really dive deep into that. Maybe they do, I don't think they do, but have basically been adopting kids or whatnot and cutting certain parts off of them, eating them, I'm thinking, and keeping them, because they are cannibals too. Like, they cannibals too. But they end up keeping one of the kids, Alice, I'm sorry y'all, they end up keeping one of the kids, the little girl named Alice, because pertaining to the children that's under the stairs, most of them are young boys. Most of them are all boys, if I'm not mistaken. So Alice, she is abused though. She's basically beaten, and ain't no telling what other things are being done to her. She is very much abused. So you have a situation where Fool, Leroy, they break into the house, and Vig Rames ain't in the movie that long. He in there a good minute, but he ain't in there too long. And they, like I said, Vig Rames don't make it out. But Fool is basically running around this house trying to escape. He ain't looking for the gold, because they basically break in looking for some gold coins. And I meant to explain that when I was talking about Leroy, but they breaking in to look for some gold coins to make some money off of them and whatnot. And basically, Fool got to the point where he ain't looking for this stuff no more, and he ends up coming across Alice while he's in the house trying to escape. And you have a situation where Alice is basically explaining to him, you ain't getting out of this shit. This shit is locked down or whatnot. She's traumatized, bro. She's at a point where she's been in here so long and dealing with this mad couple, ancestry brother and sister, that she's not even all the way there in her right mind, but she's capable enough to let him kind of in on certain places where he might can hide out a little bit until he find the escape route or whatnot. Overall, though, this is not the scariest movie. It is not the scariest movie at all. It's still a very entertaining movie, and there's certain scenes that's disturbing, honestly. But as getting older, the scenes that were disturbing when I was little, I guess it's just they got practical body horror going on. Going on, and it don't look that good. It don't. And it's a scene where Leroy's characters kind of like they do something with Leroy's dead body, and the shit look horrible. It don't even look like Leroy no more. And I'm like, this nigga ain't gonna decapitate that fast. I'm just saying, his body don't even look right. But you have another situation where one of the little boys, whose name is Roach, and I've seen this guy in a lot of, especially older things back in the day in the 90s movies, but you had this guy named Roach, who was played by Sean Whalen, and he's basically one of the little boys. So he's one of the little boys that actually escaped from under the basement or whatnot, and he's just been in the walls, because like I said, this house is on lockdown. It has locks on the outside, so it's not really ways of you escaping out. So he's pretty much been in the walls, just roaming through the walls or whatnot, because this is a huge house. And you pretty much have man and woman, because that's their name in the movies, this brother and sister who've been chasing him throughout the walls this whole time or whatnot. So as far as food, he's scared as hell, which you would be, because at the beginning, like, he don't know what's going on as far as these little kids that's under the stairs or whatnot. And when he first come across them, they are terrifying as hell to him. They terrifying to me too. But like I said, when I get older, you notice the effects and whatnot, and there's a lot of good, I ain't gonna say good, well, yeah, it's kind of good practical effects, because they pretty much stay contained and pretty much stick to the ground as far as what they're doing, as far as the body horror, whatever, whatnot. Like I said, it's kind of some disturbing images in here, especially scenes with man, as far as the guy. And I want to get these two characters' names, because one thing I will say, they played these roles. They played psychopaths, crazy as hell. They played this role, and woman is played by Wendy Robbie, and man is played by Everett McGill, and he has been in some things. He definitely has been in some things. But overall, this is one of my favorite movies. Like I said, it was scary to me somewhat when I was little. Getting older, it's more entertaining. It's a little bit more funnier now, because it's scenes in here where I'm telling you, fool, I'm not trying to be funny enough, but he shouldn't have escaped at all. He shouldn't have made it at all, bro. This nigga come across these two individuals so many times where they could have caught him. He come across they dog. They have a straight up Rottweiler who vicious as hell, who hard to take down, because he eat people just like they eat people. And there's so many situations where fools should have been caught. He should have been dead. He should have been out of here. It's at the beginning too, where he should have been out of here, man. But like I said, this was the 90s, and even though I can't even blame it on the 90s, because they have situations like this in certain horror movies now, where they have these impossible escape scenarios, and you like, no, that's not possible. Ain't no way he could have done that. But one thing I will say is, we are rooting for Fool. We are rooting for Fool, and we do want him to get out of this situation. That's one thing I will say. I feel like that's how I feel about the movie, and even to this day, being at the age I am and watching it from watching it at a younger age and watching it now, I still am cheering for Fool. I want him to make it or whatnot. So, like I said, pertaining to like body horror and all that stuff, you have a lot of practical effects in here. Some of them do not look the best. I wish I could have got a scene and put it in here and showed you one of those scenes, man. That's one of the things I wish I could have done. I should have done. But matter of fact, I think I can do that. I can edit that scene in here when I edit the video and put it up for review or whatnot. But anyway, overall, this is one, like I said, this is one of my favorite horror movies, man. It just have a lot of situations where I feel like food shouldn't have been able to escape out of certain situations. I'm just saying, man, I'm not trying to be funny when I say that, but I just feel like he shouldn't have escaped out of certain situations. Other than that, though, end result, I feel like I enjoyed the movie for what it was doing. Wes Craven, like I said, to me, did social horror before social horror was a thing, even before Tales from the Hood, because Tales from the Hood came out in 95, if I'm not mistaken, and this came out in 91. And like I said, even with Jordan Peele and his social horror and whatnot. And you even have a scene with this at the end where you had like this big old crowd or whatnot coming to confront the landlords or whatnot. And like I said, it brings it all to full front as far as everything that's going on with the horror mixed in with the social horror and whatnot, and as far as the message overall. But like I said, as far as characters, you are, to me, rooted for fool or whatnot. And as far as man and woman, and brother and sister, they are horrible characters in this movie, man. They are outlandish, but they are over the top. And the over the topness, to me, helps the movie. It does. They are over the top, especially, man. They are completely over the top, man. But to me, it definitely helps the movie, and it helps the fun and the entertainment of the movie. So if you go into this movie for anything, you definitely should watch it for man and woman. Just them and they villainous. Just watch them for that, and to see the things they try to do to contain food, and not only that, to contain roach in the walls, because like I said, you have this character Roach who's pretty much been roaming through the walls and doing all these different situations, causing havoc on them or whatnot. And that's what I mean by, when I watched it young, it was a little bit scary to me, but getting older, it still got certain disturbing moments. But if anything, it's more entertaining and funny than anything. But it's not like funny like it's being like some scary movie, or it's trying to be like spoof or anything. It's like I said, it's a 1991 movie, so it has moments here where you like, man, come on, stop this shit. But overall, it's one of my favorites. It's definitely a classic to me. I feel like, I don't think it's like a cult classic, but it's definitely in my books as being a classic. It's in my top 10 movies of all time. I love this movie. I go back and watch it every year for Halloween. But if y'all have not watched it, y'all let me know how y'all feel about The People Under the Stairs, if y'all plan on checking it out. And if you have watched it, y'all let me know how y'all feel, if it's one of y'all favorites. Like I said, I hope they do a remake on this. I really do. And I've heard things, I don't know if this is true, but I've seen or heard things about Jordan Peele even doing this, a remake on this. Maybe even possibly turn it into like a TV show. I don't know. Y'all let me know about that. I might have to look that up again. But like I said, y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all have seen The People Under the Stairs. Is it one of y'all favorites as far as horror movies? If y'all haven't, please, I'm telling you, go check it out. It's definitely one of the good ones. It's a classic. It was made in 1991, so bear with some of the look of it and some of the things that goes on in it. It's not the scariest movie at all. It's not really even scary, to be honest, especially at this age I'm at. It's not really that scary, but it is a good horror movie, I'm telling you. Overall, though, I'm telling you, if you haven't, check it out. But let me know in the comment section, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is the road to 400 subs. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to let you know when I upload new videos. Shout out to all my subscribers, and shout out to all my recently new subscribers. I appreciate anybody that's taking the time to watch my videos, man.
See me smile at the actual situation. And because they can sense that I'm not afraid of it, yeah, it's only because of my experience prior to.